Okay, shalom everybody. It is the top of the hour, 9 o'clock on a Sunday evening. It is the 3rd of November 2019, and you are here with me. I am, of course, Ariel B of the KosherTorah School. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is our weekly class in the teachings of my book, Walking in the Fire. And we are learning different meditative techniques of Kabbalistic origins from the classical Kabbalistic sources. If you do not yet have my book, Walking in the Fire, that's the book right there. Well, go pick it up. Get it on Amazon.com. And, I've had this book out, God bless, now for almost a dozen years. And people have literally yelled and screamed at me, teach the book, teach the book. And I never wanted to teach my own stuff, but I figured we've taught so much stuff. We have almost 1,000 hours of audio classes on literally almost every topic in all of the Torah world. Bible, Gemara, Halacha, of course, Kabbalistic studies. I've covered stuff in Kabbalah that, gosh, I've actually searched the internet. People don't touch what I do with a 10-foot pole. So we're unique out there, and glad to provide the services for those who, of course, want them. Hey, if you know people out there who you feel would benefit from our stuff, remember, we're out here to serve you guys. So, you guys are my reps. Go out there, pass the word. Let the people know, your friends and anyone else. These are the classes that we're offering publicly and for free. And of course, for our KosherTorah students, many of you who are with me now, you guys get the real deal, the inner circle stuff. We're in the middle now of our courses in, of course, mind expansion meditation. Just did the last class a couple of days back. And you know something? I'm hopefully trying to teach you a completely different way of learning. You know how learning is? You have a schedule, you have a structure, you have a syllabus, you have a course, you have a path that you're following, right? None of that. If you'll allow me to use the term, we're going almost in the natural way. The Chinese, they call it the Tao, right? We're just going to follow the flow, follow the stream. No plan, no directions. Just allow it to flow. That is exactly how I'm going to teach our courses. Why? Because I want to try to get you to think like this. Our minds today, because of our society, is so structure bound. We are rigid. And rigidity in our Torah Kabbalistic tradition, we call din, or severity. And severity is judgment, severity. That's all like bad stuff. So you got to be a little bit more fluid. So you're always going to hear me make references in the martial arts contact, which is, of course, very fluid. And again, for those of you who have a martial arts background, if you are familiar with the differences, for example, between Japanese and Korean systems and Chinese systems. Japanese and Korean systems are very linear and straight. The Chinese are very circular. So you would normally, if you're going to have a punch, right, you have a block, whereas in the Chinese, it's a very fluid type of thing. And, I've been involved with martial arts literally, oh my gosh, I'm going to date myself, 50 years. Yeah, it's true. Time flies when you're having fun. And I have found everything that I have studied in all the different systems. I did the Hungar, I did the Longzhou, I did Tai Chi Chuan, which is Yang, I've done Chen, I've done Bagua, I've done Wing Chun, I've done Nanchuan, and no Betway, I'm not a Northern Shaolin guy. But in all the things that I've done, I've noticed they are complements to my Torah tradition. Way back in the day, and I'm talking biblical times, we in our Torah tradition obviously had a physical and a martial traditions. But they're gone. mean, no one knows them today. I mean, we only know of them because they're referenced in the Bible. As simple as that. I released recently my, what was it, 30 hours, I think I did, on the books of Samuel. And gosh, I love teaching Tanakh, because when you look at Tanakh historically within the ancient Hebraic mindset, it's just such a wonderful different world. It's like going into a Shangri-La reality with all the good and the bad and everything else. My Shmuel courses, Book of Samuel, it's out there if you want them. It's still at reduced fare if you're interested. And of course, as a complement to our present teachings, I have my course from Shada Kedusha, also available at a discounted price for right now. Being that we're at the time period of early Genesis, I culled together my early Genesis classes. That's also available at a special discount price. And of course, I just released today, again, 3rd November, my classes, 10 hours on the life of Abraham Avinu. And I got into really cool, deep stuff with that. And again, it's all available, discounted prices. How do you have access to it? Go to my emails. Get on my email list. It's all there. All right? You could also become a patron of our KosherTorah School and having access to all the things that I release publicly, a minimum of only $5 if you're interested. I mean, I believe that what I offer is worth something. Minimum of $5. I think anybody and everybody can handle at least that. And of course, if you want access to the deeper courses, which we offer, again, Mysteries of the Genesis we're doing right now, the Mind Expansion Meditation, I have other book learning to do. Well, that, of course, is for our students at the $50 a month donation level. And love to have you aboard if you're so inclined. But also, just for the record now, in about a month's time, probably like right around after Thanksgiving, around Rosh Chodesh Kislev, we are going to have a second public class here in a topic that literally I'm getting screamed at by certain people that I have to teach. You might not know that my book, Protection from Evil, is out of print. Okay? We ran through them all. I don't have, the $10,000 I need to reprint it, etc. and so on. I have a PDF of the book available for those who want it. And we have to teach psychic, spiritual self-defense, protection from evil. So in about a month's time, let people know, because this is going to be a very important course. In about a month's time, we're going to teach protection from evil beyond the book. I'll start with a topic that I discuss in there, and then we're going to go wild. I'm going to discuss everything under the sun. Somebody was saying to me, am I going to talk about sex? And I said, yeah, probably will. We'll get into all the details of all that kind of fun stuff. I told everybody we'll teach a kosher Kama Sutra, and everybody said, yeah. I said, perfect. That's all you're interested in. But anyway, on a serious note, yeah, we're going to cover all that stuff. It's going to be coming on Wednesday nights. So for those of you interested, I don't know if the entire class is going to be open to the public. We're going to see about that. We might offer some of it to the public, some of it not. So we'll wait and see. But just to let you know, it is coming. Okay. Excuse me. On that note, tonight we're going to continue our teachings in the Shiviti. If you remember, Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. This is a little copy of the one that you'll find in my book, Walking in the Fire, on page 321. And for those of you who are interested, we have made a big poster version. You can see like the poster behind me, that same size. Here, take a look at this. Big one. Okay. 24 by 36 in a nice frame. You see it's got this white on the opening up on the top there. For those who are interested, we're going to be making this available as a donation, a fundraiser for our school. And Every one of the big Shivitis is going to have my signature on the bottom there. So it's like authentic. And then you're going to also have a personal blessing that I'm going to write here in the angelic script. So that's why it's like that. So it's going to be for each individual who wants it. It's going to be a fundraiser for our school. And again, watch our emails, because that's where I announce all this information. If you're interested, you want something like this for yourself as a gift, donate to a synagogue or for your home, well, that's what it's there for. Okay, with all that intro stuff. Now, let's talk about the Shiviti. Last week, I talked to you about the basics. Psalm 16, verse 8, I place the name of God before me always. And we take that verse literally. We fulfill that verse. There it is, right there on top. You can see. Shiviti, the name of Hashem, Lenegdi, Tamid. Right here is Kimimini Balemot and the rest of Psalm 16. Now, many of the Shivitis are used as, to use the proper word, a mandala. And that's why I have the big ones here, because try to sit there and look at this like this little one here and try to read this stuff like that. I get it. It's for me, I've done this, but for a lot of people who are learning it, they need something big. So you take it, you put it on your wall, and you can actually like look at it and real normal look, and use it, because it's not just something spiritual to put on your wall. It is actually a tool for your spiritual growth. That is what it's there for. That's why I made it. So, two things I want to talk about tonight. One is the concept of tzirofim, we call in Hebrew permutations, what and why and how we use it. But the first thing, which we did not cover in our last class, I mentioned, but now I want to cover, is the name of YHWH itself. You all know God's name, YHWH. And I've always told you, it's a code. Each and every letter has a specific meaning. Now, the code we're about to learn, it's actually in my book on page 340 and 341. It's in the later section of the Kavanot of the Merkava, which is going to be another series of teachings that we will do here in this Sunday night forum. After we're done with the Shiviti and whatever other topics, it'll get done. Like I said, we're not having a structure, we're having a fluid class, so I can't exactly tell you when it's going to come, but it'll come. Now, the name of God. Now, this is something important. Remember, was it last week we discussed why the name of God and where the vowels come from, right? From Le'olam is forever, and that's where like Jehovah comes from, and Yahweh and all the rest of these mispronunciations of the name. Well, the name itself is not just a name like Tom, Dick, or Harry. I find it rather amusing when I read, for example, the mythology that has now developed out of the writings of a very poor scholar, Zecharia Sitchin. Zecharia Sitchin, of course, with all of his talk of the Anunnaki and Enlil and Anki and all the rest of these guys, and they say, Yahweh was one of these guys, and that's what he did. And they try to portray the God of the Bible as one of these evil Anunnaki who came down here. When we were at Alien Con, somebody gave me a book, insisted that I look at it, so I did. Okay, fine. And his conclusions, of course, is that the God of the Bible is actually the serpent in the Garden of Eden. And you look there and you scratch your head and you look at people's source materials. And yet, confirms the old saying that a little bit of knowledge can cause a lot of problems. Because if you don't have proper scholarship, it's very, very frustrating. Because people just don't get it. But, all right, what can I say? I mean, when we were on, the panels, for Ancient Aliens, and one of my dear colleagues was quoting from the Bible, and I'm sitting there, and I had to say, look, I don't want to have to be a whatever, but it's not what the Bible says. And here, I'll give you the example. We were talking about one race of angels, and he was talking about the seraphim. Remember the ones in Isaiah chapter 6 who say, holy, holy, holy? And he says, these are the beings of light. They're the highest of the angels, and they're the closest to God. And, I'm sitting there saying, you're just not really understanding the Hebrew. I'm sorry. The word is not so-ref, which means burning ones of light. It's seraph, which is reptilians. They're actually the lower level, not the higher level. And, this is what happens when you just don't know stuff. When I'm teaching the Mysteries of Genesis class right now, I'm just pointing out things to people that they just never pay attention to. Do you ever pay attention to the name of God? The name of God, YHWH, is not some guy's name. It is, for example, remember we discussed the name Elohim. We actually in the Mysteries Genesis class. Elohim is more of a title, a reference, a generalization of the power. Whereas YHWH is something very specific and precise. The differences between them, we'll discuss all that maybe in another class. But the name YHWH, specifically and especially in later Kabbalah, has become a code, wherein each and every letter of the code means something specific. And if we're going to do I place God before me always, then let's understand what this God is of whom we're talking about. The name of God, YHWH, I always love to joke about this. God is not a little old man with a white beard sitting on a cloud somewhere as Michelangelo painted on the Sistine Chapel. Believe it or not, that's what a lot of people think God is. I'm sorry. But something, doesn't it say like in the Ten Commandments, don't make any graven images? This is a graven image. Even if we think in our minds, it's a mental image, right? It's really one of those thou shalt nots. The concept of that which we call God is far more abstract and profound. That is why I don't like it when we humanize God. A statement I made in the last class. The Bible says that God created us in his image. And essentially today, we have created God in our own image. So, anyway, so that's the point. We have to understand the abstract nature so that when we come to say, Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid, I place God before me always, what is this God that you're placing? Who and what is he? It's not some guy. It's not like your boyfriend or husband or father or king. It's something far more profound. Just mentioned the famous Kiddushah prayer, right? Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. We say, holy, holy, holy is YHWH, master of armies. Melo kol ha'aretz kavodo. The world, land, if you will, lower worlds, is full of his kavod, the energy presence. It's everywhere. And this is actually a very interesting question in Jewish law, halakha, because we say, according to halakha, that there are certain places which are unclean or unholy. And you would say, well, God's presence is not there. Dramatic pause for you to think about that for a second. But doesn't it say, Melo kol haaretz, the world is full of his glory? And this is one of the great revelations of the Kabbalah and the Hasidut, is that God's presence is to be found everywhere. You can't go anywhere, technically, in all of the space and time continuum that in which we exist, that the presence of the reality of this Yud Kei Vav Kei will not be found. See, that's why let's jump ahead 1,000 years. Let's go into the Star Trek universe or any of the kind. We have our United Federation of Planets. We're in touch with all the aliens, which we may already be or not. All right? And what's the big deal? What is their religion? Do they even have a religion? Well, if you believe any of the, in quote, conspiracy theories now, all of these supposed aliens are coming down and they're communicating with our leaders, whoever they be, and they're not revealing secrets of, hidden technologies or anything. They're talking about religion and spirituality. That's allegedly what all these claims are. Isn't it? I don't know about you. If there's any reality to that, I find that very worrisome. Why? That the first thing that the aliens do when they come here to make contact with us is to what? Missionize us with their religions. We don't have enough problems with our own religions that we need extraterrestrial religions to come down. Okay. I hope it's all a bunch of baloney, but I wouldn't be surprised. I believe heaven has a great sense of humor. And, one of these days we might be evangelized to believe in the great purple octopus or something else. So, yippee-ki-yay, as they say. But anyway, we have to understand beyond all of that Yud Kei Vav Kei is more what we call the kavod, the Shekhinah. It's a presence. It's a consciousness. It's a thought, an awareness. It's the mind of the universe. How about you let me use the term? It's the force. Now, George Lucas said about the force that life creates the force. It's the force that creates life. So in all due respect to George, you got it in reverse. But the concept is the natural energy. Think about it like this. If you want to understand the presence of God, think about it like this. As we all know, we are all made up. Physical matter is made up of atomic particles. Beneath the level of the cellular, everything is made up of neutrons and protons and electrons. And even according to our basic high school understandings, these like little packets of energy are like these little balls and stuff like that. And the distances between the orbiting electrons to the nucleus of the atom can be compared to the distance of planets around our sun. Think about that. How the heck do all of these little itsy-bitsy particles know to do what they do? How does a proton know to be what we call positive? How does an electron know to be negative? How does the neutron know to be neutral? Positive, negative, neutral, right, left, center. Oh, 3 columns of the Etz Chaim of the tree of life. Well, what do you know? Right there in science. Right there in the foundations and fabrics of the universe. Well, what information do these particles have? And you can say, well, they're also made up of the little quarks within. What tells the quarks to do what they do? And if you want to go into string theory, right, you got the little itsy-bitsy strings, and they're vibrating and playing their beautiful, lovely music. Cool and groovy. Where is all this, in quote, information coming from to say you do this and you do that? If I have a whole bunch of little balls and I put them all together, how do these balls over here know to form what we can call a hydrogen atom? And these over there are going to form what they call a helium atom. How do these little electrons know what the heck they're doing? Somehow, somewhere, something is in all of them that says you do this, you do that. That inner knowledge, secular science will say, it's the laws of nature. Well, the minute you say that, you acknowledge laws. There must be, by definition, a law giver, an author of the law, source of the law. We call that the primary cause. That primary cause and its manifestations, that is what we call God. Notice I didn't apply any names, personality, or anything of the kind. So the name Yud Ke Vav Ke is a code which represents the whole of the pattern of the universe. Now, for those of you who have never read my basic concepts and terminologies, little ebook I got out there, gosh, I don't even know, is it available anymore? I might have to put it up on my ebook page because I don't think it's there right now. Important stuff. A lot of it is in Walking in the Fire, specifically the lessons on the Sefirot and the worlds and what they all mean and why. If you go back into the earliest section, I think section 1 of Walking in the Fire, it's all there. But all of that information is the foundation of understanding the name Yud Ke Vav Ke. Oh, by the way, we refer to the name Yud Ke. We don't just say hey. We always show respect to the name, so we don't even spell it out with its letters. But we refer to the name Yud Ke Vav Ke as Havaya. So you'll always hear us referring to Shem Havaya. So the Shem Havaya, like I said, is a code where each letter, the Yud and the K and the Vav and the K, represent the 4 primary orders within existence itself. And I outlined this in my book, Walking in the Fire. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I even published it way back in '93 in Call Upon My Name. So, in order to give you the material, I'm just going to read it to you. It's as really simple as that. If you need more information about what is the Sefirot and what is the Partzufim and this and that, earlier section of Walking in the Fire, more, you get my basic concepts and terminology ebook. It's all in there. You know, a lot of people, a lot of my rabbinic peers write a whole bunch of books of intro Kabbalah stuff, even in English. And I read some of their stuff and I just shake my head and I go, oh my gosh, this is the guy who shouldn't be writing books on Kabbalah. They read a book on Kabbalah. I mean, anybody who knows Hebrew can go to a Jewish bookstore today and buy the Hebrew Kabbalah books. They're all out there, readily available for sale on the shelf. You go to any Hebrew bookstore and say, I want this book, that book. No one's going to deny it to you. You know Hebrew, you read it. Good for you. And now, if there are a number of rabbis out there, you go to YouTube and all the class, you got a whole bunch of rabbis, everybody's out there teaching some form of Kabbalah. And I'm not talking about the cults that are teaching nonsense. I'm talking about, real guys. But if you look at what they're teaching and you listen to what they're saying, you can recognize, and I'm sorry here, it's like the blind leading the blind. They don't understand the real mechanics of the system, what it all means. They're just repeating what books say. If all you're doing is repeating what books say, then you're going around in a circle like this, and you're never getting into the center, which is where you need to be. That's what I endeavor to do here. I mean, in all due respect, just a quick little digression here about my own experience. Many, 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 many years ago, when I was in Yerushalayim studying this stuff, I was in Bet El, I was studying with Rav Kaduri, yeah, really, and with Rav Darzi and Rav Adaya. They were all there, all in the same shul at one time. And I took the classes, and actually, the one rule that was given to me when I first started was I allowed to attend all the classes, but I wasn't allowed to ask any questions. And it was a good idea for about a year because you have to absorb stuff without allowing it to confuse you. You just have to allow it to soak in. That's Kabbalah. So after all that, I had the rare opportunity to be the student of Rabbi Meir Levi, my Rebbe. And we learned one-on-one. Literally, they actually threw everybody out of the kollel and gave us the whole room privately for ourselves. And the first words that Rabbi Meir taught me was, he said, Bini, achshav shelamadata ma katuv b'sfarim, ani lemed lecha ech lavinam. My son, now that you learned what's written in the books, I will teach you how to understand it. And if I did not have that oral tradition from Rabbi Meir, I'd be just like all the other guys out there, reading the books, thinking I got it, and I wouldn't have been taught how to read between the lines. And that's why I teach the way I do. Because I want you not to just sink it into your head. I want you to have it in your hands. You can actually use it. If we talk about what this world is all about, it's what we call tikkun olam. Tikkun olam That's the foundation of our Torah path, fixing our world, making it a better place. How the heck do you think you do that? Magic? Ooh, there's no such thing as magic. You can do all the meditations you want, and if all you're doing is directing stuff up there, nothing gets done. You got to bring everything down here. So understanding is essential, crucial, so that you know what you're doing, so that you know how to do it correctly and properly, so something can make a difference. This type of meditation of the Shiviti, vital. You understand the name of Hashem. That you understand the code of what the name means. And why? Oh, I'm going to read to you from that too. I'm going to read to you from Shada Kedusha itself, from the 4th section, which we have the course now available, discounted price if you're interested. So let's go. Let me read from my book here. Yud Kei Vav Kei, the code. And I'm reading from Walking in the Fire, page 340. The Yud, first letter of the holy name, corresponds to the realm of Atzilut in the worlds, the Haya of the soul, and Chokhmah amongst the Sefirot. If you don't know what those things are, go back to the basics. All right, I can't digress to get into all that right now. The Yud represents that which is purely spiritual and holy. It's the source of wisdom and prophecy. This is the level of the 10 Sefirot through which God's absoluteness is manifest to his creation. Herein, all is good. The Malchut of Atzilut is the Shekhinah, the oral Torah. Her mate is the Tiferet of Atzilut, who is the small face, Zeir Anpin, the written Torah. The 10 Sefirot of Atzilut are the 10 palaces of the supernal temple. So whenever we visualize the name of Hashem, we literally visualize it as a whole and letter by letter. And we gaze upon each letter. And the nature of our relationship with each and every letter is a reflection, like a Rorschach, of our inner psychological state represented by that level. So you can call it your intuitive self, your psychic self. Your intuitive and psychic self will be represented to your conscious mind as how you interact with and perceive the letter Yod in meditation. Moving right along. Hey, second letter of the name, corresponds to the realm of Birya in the worlds, the Neshama, called the higher self of the soul, and Bina amongst the Sefirot. The Hey represents pure mind and mental thought. It is the reception vessel of the intuitive revelation of the Yod, Chokhmah. Therefore, it is the source of divine revelation, Ruach HaKodesh, Holy Spirit. Herein, most is good, but evil has its source. This is the level of the human soul, which is the throne of glory, Kisei HaKavod. Herein is a spark from Atzilut concealed within. And that spark, of course, is the Shekhinah concealed within us. Remember I said about every atomic particle has the Shekhinah? Well, human consciousness is also made up of something. Inside spark of the human soul. Not part of the human soul, but the source of. That's essence from God. It's also the level of what we call the supernal Garden of Eden. So, power of the mind. You have the power of the imagination, Chokhmah, power of the mind, Bina, Yud, Hey. They also represent the right brain, left brain of the body, as well as, again, the rational and intuitive thinking. And we go from one to the other in a meditative state called Sechel Tinuda, oscillating consciousness. I described that in a whole bunch of different places, walking in the fire amongst them. And Yud and Hey, Abba and Ima, Mama and Dada, go hand in hand with one another. Third letter of the name, Vav, corresponds to the realm of Yetzirah in the worlds, the Ruach of the soul, and the 6 intermediary Sefirot of Hesed, Gevor, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod. The Vav represents the realm of the emotions, which, like the wind, are not permanent or stable. Herein is also the realm of angels, the astral plane. Herein are the forces of good and evil equally matched. Herein do all of our emotions materialize as independent, autonomous beings. Be they for good or evil, those are our own angels and demons. The human soul, which conceals within it the divine spark here, is concealed within the human spirit. This is the realm of the lower Garden of Eden. It is ruled by the archangel Metatron, prince of the presence. Let me digress here to talk about the emotional world. The emotional world, Yitzirat, that world, that dimensional plane right above our own. The entities therein are energy feeders. And these individuals, entities, many races of different, what we call angels or demons for that matter, they are foundationally emotionally based. So this is why you do not have rational conversations with an angel, or for that matter, a demon. It's all emotionally based. You'll see this even in the book of Daniel and the like. When Daniel does not understand, the angel comes and grants him understanding. But it's a heart-based understanding. All right? Bina liba ubaha lev mevin. The heart is bina, and bina is their understanding. Now, the heart of which we speak is not the heart and the body, the inner part of the mind, the inner essence. So, emotions are always the hardest place to ground and the most important to ground. So again, each and every time that we are visualizing on the name Yud-Keh-Vav-Keh, each and every letter becomes a representative Rorschach projection of our own internal state at that level. How is your intuitive psychic mind? The Yud will say. What's going on in your rational intellectual mind? The He will say. What's the state of your emotions? The Vav will say. And that is how the system works. It becomes a statement of self-referral. Let's move on to the final letter, the final He. Corresponds to the realm of Asiyah in the worlds, the Nefesh of the soul, Malchut amongst the Sefirot. The He represents the realm of the physical, and as such it's Mother Earth. The He is also the Shekhinah, the indwelling that tells the atomic particles, you do this and you do that. The physical plane is unequally matched in favor of the dark side. Dark side, remember we said, is limitation, it is rigidity, it's all those rules and regulations. That's why we're trying to be more fluid in our way. Simply because we don't want to be so rigid, we want to be fluid. That's Tikkun Olam. So, in the physical realm, evil dominates and attempts to suffocate the good. Why? Evil exists independently. It is autonomous. It is real. But the way that but it's not what most people think. Like when we get into the protection from evil beyond the book course, as I said, we'll start in about a month's time. You got to understand what evil is. Does evil exist? Yes. Is it autonomous? Yeah. I mean, it really exists. It's of itself. It's not just a lack of something. It's something in and of itself. But what is that? What it is almost like a state of immaturity. It's a state of not having things balanced within. And the way that we rectify evil, if we want to say we destroy it, we just devastate it, we tear it apart, how do you do that? You can take the form that evil expresses and destroy the form, like we did with the Nazis during World War II. But you notice that evil, funny, managed to find another form or many forms and is back. The only way you defeat evil is you neutralize it and turn it into good. You never kill. Well, yes, you do kill it, but the way of killing it is to turn it. So think of, if you will, of the metaphor, hope you know, from Star Wars, where if you remember, Luke Skywalker's ultimate goal wasn't just to kill his father, Darth Vader, but was to turn him back to the light side, which in the end he did. That is how you, in quote, kill evil. So, this realm here in which we exist, this is called the exile of Israel. It's the exile of the Shekhinah. The forces of evil, they prevent this Asiatic realm from being united with those realms from which it comes forth. The physical because of our state of immaturity or emotional imbalances, is always in a state of turmoil. Look what's going on in our world today. Our world today is completely upside down and inside out because people don't have any concept of a state of balance anymore. It's not just that they're out of balance. They don't even know anymore what is balance. Good has become evil, and evil has become good. I addressed a lot of this in our classes about Abraham Avinu. Again, a course that I have available right now. If you're interested, check my emails. And it'll help put things into a context for us. So for those of you who are on my email list, this whole week you're going to get emails from me about the different lessons I've written about Avraham Avinu. If you're not on our email list, go to KosherTorah.com and join our email list. It's real simple. And if you want access to other things, go to our Patreon page. For minimum $5 a month, you got access to a whole bunch of stuff. Check it out. So this Asiatic realm, this is the place that Adam fell into at the fall. Remember, according to the Ariel, Adam was originally in a body of light, and only then later did he fall into a body of flesh and blood. All of the teachings of that from the Sharab Sukkim and the Kitvei Hari, I've covered in great detail in my big course on the 8 gates, the Shemona Sharim of the Arizal. Go to our KosherTorah.com, look at our course offerings, and that course is presently not being offered at any discount. But for those of you who want a comprehensive understanding of the Lurianic Kabbalah, search the internet. I think, honestly, I have the most comprehensive one available. I've never seen anybody offer what I'm offering. So, okay, it's out there. So, this is the place where rectification must begin and eventually must end. So, I just described to you Yud Ke Vav Ke, each and every one of the levels. Which one of these is God? That's a dramatic pause where you sit there and you go, Remember, Malo Kol Haaretz Kavodo, the whole world is full of his glory, meaning God is present at the intuitive psychic level, wherever that dimensional plane is. God is present in the in the mental realm, wherever the mental realm is. God is present in the emotional realm, wherever our emotional realm is. And God is present in the physical domain, in which we exist and live here. So, like the old nursery rhyme that the kids say, Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere, up, up, down, down, all around. And that's it. So, there's no place that you can go physically, emotionally, mentally, or psychically, intuitively, where in which the presence of God does not exist. Shiviti Hashem lanegdi tamid. I place God before me always. Wherever I am, whenever it is, wherever, however, that presence of God is there. And the name Yud Ke Vav Ke is the code that helps us understand this. Now, let's take this a little further. Remember I said to you, is this it? Yeah, that's it. Okay. That this is something I taught originally way back in Call Upon My Name. I have it here, Walking in the Fire. This is a section from Rabbi Chaim Vital's book called Sha'arei Kedusha, The Gates of Holiness, section 4. Section 4 was considered so high and sublime that it was literally censored and not published. The first time it was published, I think, was like 1990. And he wrote it, in the early 1600s. If you had the older editions of the Sha'arei Kedusha as a book, when it got to part 4, that had like an intro paragraph, and then you'd read the comments of the publisher, said, we consider this to be too holy, and therefore we are not going to publish this. And that's it was for centuries. And first came a scholarly edition, and then the Barzani editions and all the rest, which now publishes the 4th section, especially now for the first time we have the Abulafia writings as well. So Chaim Vital quotes a lot from Abulafia in that section 4. Now I have the entire section 4 I've put in audio courses and I've taught it. It's out there. You want it? It's on a discount right now. It's almost half price. Don't tell me that you don't have access to this stuff when you do have access to it and at a price that's affordable to you. So it's there for you if you want it. And you can learn all these deep secret stuff that literally was censored for centuries. And here's one of them now. So on the bottom of page 341 in Walking in the Fire, this is a meditative technique of how we use the name Yud-Keh-Vav-Keh. It says here, one way for a man to know his sins is to meditate in his mind on the 4 letters of the name Havaya, written in the traditional, we call block or Ashurit Hebrew script. What does it say, know your sins? We would use a better word or better description today than what Rabbi Chaim wrote 400 years ago. We would say, in order for a person to know his inner personality and shortcomings. That's probably a better way to describe it. What are your shortcomings? What or where do you have any state of personal, internal imbalance that needs to be addressed? Well, how do we do that? I want to know where I need improvement. I want to know what's wrong with me or how can I fix it. I can always go to a psychologist, go to counseling. Maybe the psychologist can recognize things and maybe they can't. I can find a nice Kabbalistic master. I could sit down and learn with the master who will reveal to me the secrets of the Torah. Not everybody can find a Kabbalistic master and reveal the secrets of the Torah. But because Malo Kol Haaretz Kavado, God's everywhere, I can turn to God. And I can speak the spiritual language, which is not verbal communication, but visual. We visualize God's name, Yud-Keh-Vav-Keh, and by doing so, we pay attention to how the name appears when we visualize it. You know what? Do this right now. If you know the name, Yud-Keh-Vav-Keh, you can visualize it in your head. Close your eyes. Visualize the name Yud-Keh-Vav-Keh right now. Yeah, I'm being dramatic pause here for you. Visualize the name. You don't have to have your eyes closed. I'm just doing that now just to give you an example. Okay? Visualize the name. Can you see the letters? Some people can't see the letters. Some people can see some letters and not others. There's a whole reason and purpose behind all of this. When I teach individuals privately, one-on-one, what we do is start with a visualization of the name Yud-Keh-Vav-Keh. And I ask you, what do you see? Some people can see the Yud, some people can't. If they can't even see the letter Yud, they have a problem connecting with the own intuitive or psychic part within their own minds. If they can't see the letter Hey, problem connecting with the intellectual part. If you can't see the letter Vav, connecting with the emotional part, etc. All right? This is what and how we work in private session. It's only one-on-one. And I'll never teach a class on because it has to be, like it says, Maseh Merkava, one-on-one. Continuing what Reb Chaim writes here. Again, flipping from the bottom of page 341, Walking in the Fire, to 342. He says, this is the meaning of the Pasuk. Oh, our favorite verse here, Psalm 16, verse 8. I place the name Yud-Keh-Vav-Keh before me always. And this is the technique. When one meditates on the name, if he has sinned and thus blemished any one of the 4 letters, then that letter will not be able to be meditated upon clearly, and he can thus know the source of his weakness, just like I described. You know how you live your life. You know the kind of personality that you are. So you can use the name Yud-Keh-Vav-Keh as a very clear, like I said, projection or reflection of your own inner state. So if, for example, you have a problem visualizing the name in general, or a specific letter. I've taught people in your mind, in your imagination, an active imagination technique, a Jungian type of thing, which actually Avraham Abulafi and Sefer Cheshek did the same thing. I tell you, go up and talk to the letters. Literally visualize yourself having a conversation with the letter Yod, or Hey, or Vav, or Hey. And dialogue. What does the letter look like to you? Now, what is the nature of that looking? Again, back to our text. When meditating upon the name, if the letters appear as if written in black ink, then one's soul is emanating from the world of Asiyah. If the letters appear red, such soul emanates from Yetzirah. If the letters appear white, the soul emanates from Birya. If the letters appear not only white but glowing or sparkling, that is a soul which emanates from Atzilut. By this, a man can know which level his soul clings. In this way also, a man should meditate on the name Havaya as if placed in every organ or member of his body, be it in his face, in his hand. If there be something lacking in the letters in a specific area, the man can then identify his sin. When we get into the teachings of the Kabbanot of the Merkavah, then we'll get into this section. The truest and highest way of perceiving Havaya in meditation is to see the name as a burning fire. If one perceives the name as such, then the one is without blemish and is complete. So, this is one of the unique times when we actually use colors as a psychological component in analyzing our spiritual status. So, the colors that Reb Chaim brings down is black or red or white or fire. Well, what happens if you see it in a blue or a green or a purple or an orange? Some people do. Well, then we have to understand the nature of those colors, not only from an archetypal point of view, but from an individual point of view. And again, like I said, in one-on-one teachings with individuals, this is how we interact and work. So now, when you're using the Shiviti, small one like this, or a big one, you're supposed to be able to recognize. So you see how I put the name Yud-Kei Vav-Kei? You notice there I have a blue and a yellow around it. Yellow is symbolic of like the fire, but the blue is symbolic of the Shekhinah. I intentionally wanted to put those things in there. Somebody's saying here, I can see fire letters, but I can't see the second or fourth letter. So, I'm not going to get into counseling right now on the class here, but there's a reason for that. You have to discover what it is. So, as you are visualizing, you've got to pay attention to how you see the name. Shiviti Hashem. Okay, we're kind of running short on time here. So again, if you're interested in the Shiviti, for $15, it is available. You send me the $15 through the PayPal, .me stuff, and I'll send you the JPEG of the small one. You can print it out for yourself. If you want the big one, like I said, it's going to be available soon. Signature with the angelic stuff, and for a fundraiser for the school. Walking in the Fire. If you want to follow along in the book, you got to get this stuff, guys. I can't do it all for you. So yeah, do what you got to do, and let's work. I mean, that's why we're here. This is Tikkun Olam. The more you learn about yourself and understand how not only you see yourself, but how you are seen in the eyes of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, that is a great and profound revelation about yourself, which will help you repair your physical behavior, your emotional state, your mental mind, and of course your intuitive psychic self as well. That's what it's all about. Okay, in the few minutes that I have left, if there are any questions, now's the time to ask. So I've seen a whole bunch of different things in the text, but if anybody's got any questions, now's the time to ask. So I'm going to look here and wait. Right? Any comments in text here? I can see everybody's watching. No. I don't see any comments. All right, good. I'm sure somebody's going to come in with a comment because it always happens when I'm ready to close up shop. That's usually when the comments come in. But okay, again, you need to do this. It is as simple or difficult as you will make it, but it obviously does require practice. Somebody's asked, what do fire letters represent? Well, Reb Chaim said, fire represents the level of Atzilut. But what color is your fire? Yellow, orange, red, blue. What is the nature of your fire? Are the letters flowing or are they rigid? Are they strict or fluid? See, all of these little details mean something. And again, what you need to do is to keep a diary. Visualize the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. You do it right now. And I see the letter Yud like this. I see the letter Hey like that. Write it down. And as you, again, continue to do so, it's like keeping a journal, a diary, and see what works. Somebody's saying you see yellow, golden, flowing. Cool and groovy. Again, in comment, I'm not going to get into individual, what a person sees, because I don't know the individual, right? I would need to say, what does that mean to you? And as we do that, the person and I interact, etc., we learn. Alrighty, that's it. Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. I really did want to get into the permutation stuff, but I guess we'll do that next class. Again, if there are any other questions, now's the quick time to ask. If not, then we're going to call it a day. So, again, thanks all for joining me. I am Ariel B Tzadok here from the KosherTorah School, offering you a whole bunch of opportunities if, and only if, you're willing and ready to embrace them. Alrighty, guys, let's call it a night. Thank you again all for joining me. No questions? Whew, makes my job a whole lot easier. What can I say? And I will see you all in our next class, God be willing, next Sunday night. I should be here. I got to go back out to LA and do some filming for Ancient Aliens. I know that's coming up. I just don't know yet when that will be. And I don't want to miss any kind of class, but that all depends on the kind of schedule that they give me. But okay, that's what's going on. So enjoy. Have a good week. Watch my emails for all the opportunities of everything that we've been talking about. Check out the Patreon page. Become a supporter of our school. If you want all the deeper classes, $50 donation, monthly level. Call me. Email me at arielsadok@gmail.com. And let's get everybody signed up and working and doing what we need to do. Our world is really screwed up. We really need a lot of people to go on and make a difference. Maybe that'll be you. Think about it. All right. That's it. We'll see you all. Same bat time, same bat channel. How many of you remember that? Okay. We'll see you all in the next class. Ariel B Tzadok here, KosherTorah School. Wishing you a great and happy week. See you all soon.